Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We're here with Panhandle Outdoors, and first let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard and hard-working crew. Taking care of our everyday comfort needs, and it's sort of warming up a little bit. It's going to get up to 65 today and low of 51. That water temperature, that all-important water temperature at the end of the pier is still at 72 degrees. So a lot of activity going on around the pier, a lot of surf fishing going on, and it's about to get that time. Usually we talk about pompano in April, but it's some being called. We'll talk more about it later. Take a look at our freshwater side, the river readings. Looking at the Apalachicola Bluntstown this morning of 8.4, and the Choctawhatchee at Careville is reading a 5.8 this morning. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn right here on 23rd Street. We're looking at good, strong tides all week long. Just a great week of tides. The low tide was this morning at 3:30, and high tide is coming in at about 4:01 this afternoon. Strong tide, strong movement. The wind is going to start laying down. It's not going to be near as bad today as it has been the last couple of days. It'll be coming out of northeast at about 5 to 10. It's going to be a good day to be on the water. Let's take a break. We'll come back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back, and welcome to our monthly member coming in. We're part of the Panhandle Outdoors team as far as the law enforcement and all the Fish and Wildlife Commission, Officer Travis Basford. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
And with this case of the month, well, you got to wait for the case of the month. It's going to be hard to believe. But anyway, let's get started. A lot of things being passed now. We've got, offshore season coming up, inshore stuff. So I'm going to let you talk about all kind of stuff going on, Travis.
Yes, sir. Yep. Getting busy with fishing, and like you said, that water temperature is warming up. We got all the spring run of Spanish, pompano, all that stuff going on, cobia. One thing I just wanted to touch on and let everyone know about, we've had a lot of questions about this over the years, and FWC finally approved a very limited, highly regulated harvest of Goliath grouper. And I'll go over a little bit of the details of that. It is open up here in the Panhandle. It's actually, the season's going to run from March 1st through May 31st. And the way it works is they issue 200 permits statewide for these Goliaths. Now the drawing period or the application period was at the end of last year in the fall. They'll do it again this year. But it's a very highly regulated harvest. And the reason they did that is you have a very diverse stakeholder, I guess, input that's coming out. You have people that don't want them harvested at all, and then you have people that want a lot of them harvested. And so what they're trying to do is find a happy medium. And the only areas that's closed to harvest is like southeast Florida. There's a lot of recreational diving that goes on down there and viewing for those fish. So I think the closed area is Martin County down into the Keys, but the whole rest of the state's open. So the Gulf side of the Keys all the way up to Pensacola, and then north of Martin County to up to the state line there. And so yeah, March 1st through May 31st, you have to have this permit. The size limit, there's a size limit, so you can't harvest the great big ones. It's 24 to 36 inches, and that's usually about a 5 to 6 pound fish to about a 35 pound fish, so pretty good size. And then of course the bag limit's 1 per person with that permit. So this has been a long time coming. This was a lot of stakeholder input, a lot of population assessments and things like that, and now they've opened them to harvest.
We followed that. In the old days they were just catching them right and left, and then they outran out, and they about depleted the source. So I think that's a good medium. They are open up to a limited basis, and that size limit too. Exactly,
and in the future they might allow for more. We'll see. So this is the first time in a long time they've done this. So just wanted to let everyone know about that. If you want to put in for it, usually the application period is October 1st through November 30th each year. Okay, and then another thing too, staying on the whole grouper thing, we had a pretty big change on gag grouper.
Big change.
Yep, and in the past several years we've had different seasons to the east. You get over there around the Big Bend, they actually were opening the season earlier for those fishermen over there, and then usually in our section of the Panhandle it was June, July it would open, which allowed people to snapper and grouper fish at the same time for gags, that is. But based on the Gulf Council, they have found that gag has been overfished. They're working on a new rebuilding plan for gag grouper. And to prevent additional overfishing, they've shortened the season. They pushed it back. So gag season this year for gag grouper here is going to be September 1st through November 10th. That is a pretty big change. Yes, you're not going to be able to, probably not going to be able to harvest red snapper and gag grouper at the same time during the regular red snapper season. If they open snapper up again in the fall, you might have that opportunity.
And that's always been a big drawing card, is going out fishing and catching red snapper and the grouper at the same time too.
So they just want to make sure, and we've seen this over the years, it's kind of the ebbs and flows of the reef fishery, and excuse me, and they just want to make sure, again, if you look back, FWC's mission as a whole, managing fish and wildlife resources for their long-term well-being and for the benefit of people. So we want the resource to have their long-term well-being first, and then we want people to benefit and harvest them. But if they get depleted to a certain point, people can't benefit from them.
And what has happened is just more hooks in the water now. There's so many more people fishing than were 20 years, even 10 years ago. There's so many more people.
Shoot, yeah, and you look at the technology now with bottom machine and what you can see down there and getting on these fish, they do have a lot of pressure on them. So they talked about 3 species real quick, and I know we probably got to go to a break, but gag grouper, saying they're being experiencing overfishing. They shortened the season, moved it back. Greater amberjack, same thing. They're not going to open it from May this year. So right now we've got gray triggerfish open as far as your reef fish. They're not going to open amberjack in May. They hope to open that later in the summer. Same thing, they're working on a rebuilding plan for amberjack, and they don't want to prevent more overfishing. They did say that there are some, in their report, they said that gray triggerfish numbers have increased, and they're looking at increasing the commercial trip limit for gray triggerfish. So again, it's the ebb and flows of the fishery. I mean, we remember years ago when we had the snapper seasons for red snapper, it was 9 days, 11 days. That's frustrating for everybody. But now you look at what we've done the past year, month and a half season, and then those fall weekends, it's really nice. So we just have to be patient and trust the process. Really
and a lot of management in there, and it's going to benefit us all in the long run. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with Travis. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with Officer Travis Bassford with the Fish and Wildlife Commission, and they all have many ways of contacting our people and communicating with our people, and actually the little outreach program y'all do. I was at one the other day at Southport Elementary. I looked over there. There you guys were.
Yep, we were, and that's a good event.
That was a great event.
I had been to that one, and I think we have some pictures here. But yeah, Coach was there, and we spoke with all the kids basically about what we do, what we get to protect as FWC officers. I think that's me there with a deer skull, but Officer Zach Rice was also there at Southport, and just want to let you guys know if you've got a group of kids or young people and you want us to come out and talk about the job, we've got some different things we can show them, some cases we've made and items we've seized that we can kind of talk about. There's Officer Rice talking to some kindergartners there, and of course the little kids, they like to get up in the boat.
They're fascinated. Oh yeah, they get up and let me in the boat. Let me in the boat.
Yeah,
I bet a lot of them never been in a boat that size.
Yeah, some of them never been in one. They can tell their parents they went in a police boat for the day. But it's a good thing to do. And that career day, I mean, I think a lot of people were there. We had Drew Benton, professional bass fisherman.
Yeah, he was there. Well, we had
Florida Highway Patrol was there, so a lot of people. And then this was another one here at Palm Bay.
Palm Bay Academy, okay.
Yeah, that was down on 11th Street.
Yeah.
And same thing. I mean, there was probably 500-600 kids.
The Palm Bay Panthers.
That came out, yep. And got to hear about kind of what we do. We hand out some bracelets and stuff, remind them to wear their life jackets. Some of them, they've never been on a boat, and they get to, it's pretty cool. I think there's a class with their teacher.
Okay, good stuff.
So that's really good. And like I said, if I can get Jeff to put my email on there, if you've got an event or you want us to come speak with your class about what we do as FWC officers, we'd love to do that. And I'll put my contact information on there. So, but yeah, spring fishing's been going good. I mean, I know you've been putting some pictures on there, and it's getting busy.
Yeah, well, you seeing a lot out there. Y'all doing a lot of patrolling, seeing a lot of stuff being caught.
We are. We're doing that, and then everybody's getting ready for spring turkey season too. This coming weekend. So a lot of people excited about that. We just finished up with the youth hunt weekend. I was actually teaching a hunter safety class this past weekend. Had a question for the youth hunt. I know we just had it, but for the adult that's out there with, the kid that's hunting, did they need a license and did they need a turkey permit? And I told them, yeah, you do. Even though you're not shooting, you're calling, you're putting a decoy out.
Good question.
So you need to have your license too. And 99.9% of these adults too, the next weekend they're going as well. So,
right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a question we had on that. But yeah, I mean, that youth weekend's just a great time for the kids to get out there, get a head start. Maybe they can harvest a turkey before the regular season opens up and these birds start to get a little wise to everybody being in the woods. So, but yeah, spring turkey season's going to run, the regular season that is, March 18th through April 23rd. Make sure you have your hunting license, your turkey permit. And then the thing we stress every time is make sure you're not within 100 yards of bait or feeding station.
Football field length.
Yep.
Right.
So just make sure you're the correct distance away. If you have bait or if you don't have it, then I guess you don't have to worry about it. But some people still have deer feeders running and things like that. Just need to be aware of where that stuff is.
I use that football field length and a lot of things in outdoors. I tell people even we start with scalloping, don't get within the football field length of scalloping. But now it's broken all the time now. And also when you're out there in the bay trolling for Spanish, a lot of people get in line out there and try to keep your distance. And it's the ethical thing to do as outdoorsmen and sportsmen.
It is, yeah, and that's kind of like a common courtesy thing, like he's talking about people trolling for Spanish. But yeah, I mean, it's the law on that scalloping to make sure you stay the correct distance away from a dive flag. And if you have to go inside that football field or 300 feet, that make sure you bring it down to idle speed. We talk about that every summer.
We'll talk about that coming up and all. So I get, the big change, to get back to the grouper, that's the big change not catching grouper this summer.
It is, yeah. It is going to be a big change, and it's a big change for the Panhandle because we've had those two zones set up. Where to the east, you get off Franklin County, they were opening up in the springtime for those guys over there. And again, we just have to be patient with that process. I know it's frustrating for a lot of anglers, but they'll come back just like red snapper. And by pushing it toward the end, you have less pressure later in the year because there's not as many people out there red snapper fishing, and then you shorten the season to try to, basically not go over that quota that they set. And there's a lot of things that go into that, and I would just encourage everyone, you can go online and look, go to the commission notes from our meetings, and they want stakeholder input on this too. So
well, that data collection is critical when they make these decisions. Right? We've been to the meetings before. They meet across the state, 6 times a year, maybe 5 or 6 times a year.
Yeah, they meet all over.
And get up there and talk about it.
Yeah, do. Whatever's important to you. I've seen them, they try to base it on different things. It's biological data and population assessments, but it's also stakeholder input. For instance, with the sheep's head fishery here, just locally, we saw when that bag limit went down. Same thing with spotted sea trout. I've been to meetings where a lot of guides have went in and kind of expressed, because they're out there every day on the water, they get to see a lot of what's going on, and all that stuff kind of goes into the decision-making process.
Travis, what are they seeing this time of year on the water? What are some of your buddies seeing, and some of your workmates and all?
It's just starting to get busy, like I say, on the spring on the spring side of things with pompano. The Spanish have been really thick. We're seeing a lot of Spanish not only on the piers but all in the bays, and then won't be long for kings and cobia and all that stuff starts going along. So. Just people getting out, and that's another thing too. And when you get your boat out there, make sure you've got all your safety gear in the boat. Sometimes if the boat's been stored all winter, you haven't put all your gear back in there. I stopped someone the other day and they forgot to put some stuff in there and ended up writing them some warnings. But make sure you've got your throw cushion in there. Make sure you put your life jackets back in the boat, fire extinguisher, horn or whistle, etc. Yeah. So, just seeing more and more people getting out with the good weather. So.
I know like I say, the Spanish, we're talking about the Spanish, and we're talking about the pompano, we're talking about the cobia, but the cobia run hasn't been that strong the last couple of springs.
Yeah, it's been down, that's for sure. And a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on that, why that is. Yeah. But it's definitely not like it was when I was a kid. Yeah. But that was a while ago, so.
Not that long ago. Yeah. All right, we're going to take our final break and be back with Travis. Okay, welcome back to our final segment here with Officer Travis Bassford, and we always like to do Case of the Month. But before we get to Case of the Month, let's take a look at our fishing game time today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe. Our time, 6:12 to 8:12 this morning, a 2-hour block this afternoon, later on about 6:43 to 843. For years, we've been doing Case of the Month. Even before we became part of FWC, we've done Case of the Month. And we were talking about this one a little bit ahead of time. I said, what? This one's even surprised me, because he sent the pictures last night, and I wasn't surprised at the picture, but how this happened is just surprising. So let's go to, okay, here's our logo right here. Law Enforcement, Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. So I'm gonna show, we'll show one of these, okay, we're gonna go the other way. We're gonna show 4 turkeys on a tailgate. Now, right now, I'm thinking, but before we get into this, we're gonna show the pictures again, but this case, I want you to tell the folks from the beginning of this case right here.
It's quite the story, and yeah, you see that, and if you're an ethical turkey hunter, that probably makes you pretty upset. This happened back February 19th, so this is several weeks before season opened, and I want to recognize Officer Dusty Humphrey. Humphrey and I went to the academy together way back in 2009. We've been on 14 years now. He's worked all over the state. He's been down in Brevard County. He worked Calhoun and Jackson. In this section of the Panhandle, and now he's over in Madison County.
Okay.
And just a great case by Officer Humphrey, and I'll kind of lay it out, kind of give you guys a story of how it happened. He received a call from a landowner, and basically the landowner heard some shots on neighboring properties, like, what the heck's going on? So he went over there, and through a small clearing in the woods, he saw what he thought he saw was a guy loading up a turkey in like a UTV and taking off. So he's like, okay. So he calls the game warden. Officer Humphrey arrives, starts looking, and of course, in the clearing, there's turkey feathers. There's a feeder with cracked corn, whole corn all over it. He finds a ground blind about 30 yards away. And in and around the ground blind, there's some fresh spent 20 gauge shells. So he collects all that stuff, follows a sign down to a camp, down another road, and there's 4 adult males at the camp. Starts interviewing the guys about what they've been doing that morning, and they were adamant. They had not done any hunting. They had done some shooting, but they had not killed anything. And make a long story short, he goes back down to the clearing, gathers some more evidence. There's a trail camera with an SD card. He finds fresh blood on the ground, goes back down and talks to the guys again. There was actually some blood on one of the guy's shirt that he was denying was blood. But make a long story short, he had the blood, he had the feathers, he had the corn, the blind, the shells, a gun, and ammo that matched.
Pretty good evidence right here.
Right, so he's building this case.
Okay.
And goes back down there, and after some good interview technique, one of them was able to finally admit to what they had done. And it wasn't just, hey, I shot a turkey. As you see in the pictures, he shot 4. And he admitted, he said, hey, we had a group of turkeys come in, we shot 3, drug them off the clearing, got back in the blind. 15 minutes later, 2 more turkeys come out, kill another one, drag it off. So they ended up getting
What were
4.
they thinking?
They weren't. And then, so what they did also, he's like, where are the turkeys? So when they rolled up on the camp, he was there with a couple of deputies. They took the turkeys, went in the swamp, hid them under a log. He said, well, I'm gonna need the birds. So they go in the swamp, recover them. And so what he ends up recovering are 2 hen turkeys, a Jake, and then one of them was a nice gobbler, had about a 9-10 inch beard that they killed. And they were charged. So seized the trail camera, the SD card, that was like a brand new pistol grip shotgun, 20 gauge, all decked out for turkey hunting, and charged the guy with taking wild turkey over bait, taking wild turkey in the closed season, taking of hen turkey, and then taking over the bag limit of turkey. So great case by Officer Humphrey over there, and those are the guys we want to catch. Those are the ones that are taking the resource. So.
And they were really not from around here. They thought what they were doing was sort of a legal thing to do. Well, and they're from another country,
yeah,
basically.
Part of it.
And they knew it wasn't legal, but they thought it was on their own land. They could do what they wanted to from another country. So that was sort of an odd situation there.
It was, and just a great investigative job, Officer Humphrey. Good interview technique, and then you think about like that neighbor. That gobbler. That's a turkey that could have been legally harvested by somebody when the season opened. He won't be now because they poached him, But those are the guys we want to catch, and I'll tell you another cool thing about this case is, so all 4 of those turkeys got donated to FWC, and they're going to use that for training with our recruits at the academy.
Good deal.
Yep. So so just a jam up case.
Here's the officer here. One more picture of him because he did some great groundwork doing all that and breaking the case. And the second thing I want to talk about is how the neighbor, he sees something, hears something, say something.
That's it.
He heard the gunshots, and y'all would never know anything about it. So he called. So, you know, talking about all kind of different things going on. This is our resources. You know?
Right.
So we want to take care of it.
Exactly, and exactly like Coach said, if you see something, you know it isn't right as a hunter, fisherman. I mean, most of us know what's legal and all. If you don't think something sounds right, give us a call. It never hurts. And that's a perfect example of somebody calling, and then it leads to this case. And who knows if he'd have done that the next day, you know, if he wouldn't have got caught.
Yeah.
So good job by that guy. And I know he's probably frustrated. He's like, well, there's 4 turkeys I'm not going to have. But holding the guys accountable, he's not going to use that gun anymore to hunt them. And just a good job. So we've put that number up there for Wildlife Alert.
Yeah.
You know, call us because your eyes and ears out there. We can't be everywhere, and we need your help to protect this resource. So.
And when they hide, and they know they did something wrong when they start hiding the evidence. You know, I guess y'all see a lot of that where they're hiding different places.
Oh yeah, and that's the intent of it. You know, is they knew that they had done something wrong, and then when they see law enforcement, they're going to try to get rid of everything. And then they lied to us too. It's just like when you're a little kid. I mean, it's always going to be worse when you lie about it. You do something wrong, just admit it.
I did it.
And be done with it, and just take your licks, and then instead of hiding it and stuff, because could have charged him with additional charge of interference with an FWC officer. He didn't end up doing it because he already had the 4 criminal charges on him, but could have very well charged him with that as well. So
good deal. Well, that's a good case. Well, not a good case. It's an amazing case if we have something like that. So with gobbler season coming up, y'all, you know, be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And same thing. If you see something, or you know, I told the that hunter safety class this past weekend, you know, if you see something looks like someone's hunting over bait, call us.
Yeah.
You know, we'd like to go in there and address that violation. It's not fair to the bird, and it's not really considered fair chase and anything like that. I mean, we've had cases like this too, where neighbors call and night hunting cases happen.
Yeah.
So, anyways, just a great job, Officer Humphrey over there.
All right, Travis. We always appreciate you coming on each month, and always interesting, important information, and interesting case of the month each time. So thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Enjoy it every time.
All right. Y'all do something good for someone else today. Enjoy our great outdoors and take care of our outdoors. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.